Have you ever been listening to the radio late at night, when the signal starts to break up and strange sounds bleed through the static? What if those sounds started whispering your name? Tonight, we're going to Pine Hill, Oregon, to uncover a story that still haunts the airwaves. This is the tale of the last broadcast from Pine Hill radio station. Our story begins in the early hours of October 21st, 1994. Pine Hill was a quiet, unassuming town, the kind of place where everyone knew everyone, and nothing much ever happened. The local radio station, a small, independent outfit, was a comforting presence, its signal reaching every home, every car. A familiar voice in the dark. The overnight DJ, a man named Arthur Vance, was known for his calm, soothing baritone, playing classic rock and sharing local tidbits to keep the town night owls and early risers company. But on this particular night, something went terribly wrong. At precisely 2:13 a.m., the broadcast changed. The classic rock song that was playing abruptly cut out, replaced by a wall of screeching static. It wasn't unusual for a small station to have technical difficulties, but this was different. The static wasn't empty. Listeners across town, startled awake by the harsh noise, began to hear things within the hiss and crackle. Faint whispers, at first unintelligible, started to form words. And then the true horror began. Residents reported hearing their own names being whispered through their radios. Imagine it. You're alone in your house. The only sound is the radio, and suddenly a distorted voice from the speaker whispers your name. The sheer terror of that moment is hard to comprehend. Panic began to set in. The town's phone lines lit up as terrified residents called each other, trying to make sense of what was happening. Was it a prank? A technical glitch of some impossible, terrifying kind? Then, through the chaos, Arthur Vance's voice returned, but it was strained, filled with a panic that no one had ever heard from him before. He spoke only a few words, but they would be etched into the memory of Pine Hill forever. His last words on air were, "It's not my voice anymore." And then he was gone, replaced by a sound that would haunt the town for decades. The police were flooded with calls and immediately dispatched a car to the Pine Hill radio station, located on a remote, wooded hill overlooking the town. When they arrived, they found an eerie scene. The station was completely empty. The lights were on. A coffee cup sat half full on the console, but Arthur Vance was nowhere to be found. He had vanished without a trace. The most chilling discovery, however, was in the broadcast booth. The equipment was still running. The tape was still rolling, recording everything that was going out over the air. But it wasn't static anymore. It was laughter. Hours and hours of distorted, echoing laughter. It wasn't a human sound. It was too high-pitched, too guttural, layered in a way that defied explanation. Forensic audio experts were brought in to analyze the tapes. They spent weeks trying to decipher the sound, to find its origin. Their conclusion was unanimous and deeply unsettling. The laughter wasn't produced by human vocal cords. They couldn't explain what it was, only what it wasn't. It was something else, something alien and malevolent that had taken over the airwaves. Arthur Vance was never seen again. He was declared a missing person, his disappearance one of the town's most enduring and tragic mysteries. The station itself was shut down, a place tainted by an inexplicable event. It stood silent and abandoned for 4 years, a dark silhouette on the hill, a constant reminder of that terrifying night. But the story doesn't end there. This is where it gets even stranger. Every year, on October 21st, at exactly 2:13 a.m., something happens. The frequency that once belonged to Pine Hill radio station comes alive. For just a few minutes, the air crackles, and that same distorted laughter echoes through the night for anyone brave or foolish enough to tune in. This phenomenon has been documented by paranormal investigators, thrill seekers, and locals who can't let the mystery go. The most bizarre part? The Pine Hill radio station was demolished in 1998. The building is gone. The tower was torn down. There is nothing there to broadcast a signal. And yet, every single year, like clockwork, the laughter returns. What happened to Arthur Vance? What was that thing that took over his voice and his station? Was it a being from another dimension, an ancient entity awakened, or something far more bizarre? The empty studio, the impossible broadcast, the voice that was ent a voice. It all points to a truth that we may not be equipped to understand. The laughter that still echoes from a phantom station serves as a chilling warning. Sometimes, when you tune into the darkness tunes into you. It knows your name. It knows how to find you. And it's still out there, waiting in the static. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive into the unexplained. If you have any theories about what happened at Pine Hill, leave them in the comments below. I'd love to read them. And if you enjoyed this story, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next journey into the unknown. Stay safe, and maybe keep the radio off tonight.